All right, so today we're going to be doing corrections on the ACT. You have gotten back your report. It's like this. Okay, so you got your GradeCam report. Get that on your desk. Also, you've got your goal setting sheet. All right, have that out on your desk, and we'll walk you through how to do the goal setting. Okay? Now, first thing you're going to do is go back to your report sheet, and in the upper right hand corner it tells you how many questions you got right out of 40. There's no scale score on here or anything like that, but look at the number of questions you got right. Got it? Now look up here on this chart in the reading column, find the number you got right. Let's say, just for discussion, that you got 24 questions right. Right. Now these change, by the way, from test to test. They're not the same every time. But this is the conversion chart for the practice test that you took. Okay? So let's say you got 24 right. So let's go across here. 24 goes across to here, which would give you a scale score of a 22. Right? So on your sheet, where it says reading 1 score, find what yours would be, your scale score, and write it in that blank. And on the example I'm giving, you got 24 right, your scale score would be 22. So that's the example I'm going to use. So you find what you got, put it on there. Now, the instructions are up here at the top, but I'm going to walk you through it anyway. Okay? So you take your questions correct, you have your scale score, and let's say in my example here, the 22, you subtract that from 36. In this case, it would be 14, right? So go ahead and subtract what you got from 36. Whatever your score is, your scale score, subtract that from 36. Okay? Now take 10% of that number. In my case, what did we say it would be? 14. So 10% of that will be 1.4. Got it? Take 10% of your number and round it up to the next whole number. So mine would be, what did I say, a 1.6, so I'd round it up to a 2. Right? So I need to raise my scale score on reading 2 points on the next practice test, which would mean my scale score on the next practice test would be what? A 24. So my goal score is a 24. So figure it out and write down your goal score. You got it? So you know what your goal score is on the next test. And we're going to use this chart because it's the one we have in front of us. It's going to be close. So for my sample here, we say my goal score is a 24. So how many questions do I need to get right on the next test on the reading section to make my 24? I need to get 27 questions right next time. You with me? So out beside of your scale score, put the number of questions you need to get right on the next test to meet your score, your goal score, and circle that. Okay? Now one more step, and this is just for a little peace of mind here. There are 4 passages on the test, correct? 10 questions per passage. How many questions do I need to get right per passage to reach my goal score? If my goal score is 24, I need to get 27, so I need to get 7 would do it, would put me above it. If I get 7 out of 10 correct on each passage, in other words, if I can get 70% correct, then I'm going to reach my goal score. Is that doable? Can you get 7 questions per correct? 7 out of 10. You see, when you look at it like that, you see that this is doable, folks. This is doable. Now, you find yourself down in here in the lower end, okay? You've got a taller hill to climb. That's okay. All right? You got a taller hill? You can do it, though. If you want to, you put your mind to it. You do what I'm going to be showing you to do throughout the next few months. It's very doable. You remember the student videos, student advice videos I played for you, like the first week of school? How many of those students were talking about how much they raced their ACT scores? And that was one of the things that they were passing on to you. Do what I'm teaching you to do, and you're going to race them. Scores going to come up. But it depends on you. I give you the tools, I teach you to use them. It's up to you what you do with it, right? Okay. So much for that. Now, people are always asking, well, what would my grade be? I think you asked that already. You know, what would it be if it were a scaled grade? So I'll show you here. Maybe. Well, how's that not coming up? There it is. Or not. Is it already over here? Still trying to get used to these two screens. Oh, I know why it's not going up there, because it's got the screen frozen. There it is. Okay. Now, let's talk about benchmarks for just a moment. Now, this is the number correct. This is for a different test, but it's close. It's within one question, so you still get the idea, all right? If your scale score, not worrying about this, but if your scale score is a 20, then why do I have 20 in red? Anybody know? That's Kentucky benchmark, not national benchmark. Kentucky benchmark. Anybody know what the national benchmark is? 22 for reading, okay? Well, let's talk about the Kentucky one right now. I have it in red because that's the benchmark, and this is a 50-point scale, this is a 100-point scale. There it is. So, meeting benchmark gets you a C, right? A 70, the lowest possible C. Benchmark is not our goal in here, folks. Benchmark is the lowest acceptable score. You with me? That's not what we're all shooting for. All right? We're shooting for way up here. All right? We're shooting for something above 26 because, 26 or above. Because now you're getting an A territory. You with me? We're not shooting for 20s. That's just the getting by. Okay? Whew. I got by. Score. But you're not in this class because you want to just get by. Okay? You're in this class because you want to excel. And that's in your hands. You with me? All right, so one more thing I want to show you. Where's the mouse? I see it. There it is. That is our corrections. Today, we're going to be doing multiple choice corrections just like we do on the AP multiple choice test. We're going to take the ones that you missed, take the question stem, the correct answer, textual support, including a quote, putting all that together in a paragraph for each of the questions you missed. So this isn't just multiple choice practice, but we're combining writing practice because we have claim, data, and warrant. Claim, data is your support. Explanation is the 2 or 3 sentences that follow it. You've done this before. You know how to do this. All right? But I will scroll it up so you can see the sample because some of the students in earlier classes want to see the sample. So I'll do that for you. But that's what we're going to be doing. Now, we also talk about exempt. Okay, there are 4 questions exempt. On this test, it's 3, 12, 26, and 28 are exempt from paragraph corrections. They're not exempt from correcting, but they're exempt from paragraphs because they're just like line so-and-so types of things, basic, simple. If you missed one of those, and very few people did, But if you missed one of those, just simply write why the right answer is the right answer and move on. The rest of them need to be in the paragraphs like you've done before. Okay? What questions do you have for me? None? All right, let's get to it. One more thing we ran into, sorry. On the AP, these really lend themselves to being put together. Some of the questions and answer choices, you're going to have to reword them a little bit for it to make sense in a paragraph. That's okay, just make sure you don't change the meaning of it. But you may have to reword it a little bit. And on a few, listen very closely here, on a few of them, it's going to be really difficult to put in a quote. Okay, you can paraphrase it. Got it? Generally, for the AP, we always have to have a quote. We've got to have that concrete evidence in there that's straight out of the text. Some of these, not the way they're worded, it's hard to do that, but you can paraphrase. I still want textual support. Okay? Good to go? That's good.